When you believe that what you have is enough and that your experience of life is enoughness, there is a peacefulness that can only come through this belief. There is a peaceful, non-resistance, acceptance state of being that allows you to then be receptive to everything that you desire. When we're seeking to manifest or create something or heal something, when we are in the I need it or I want it or I don't have enough of it, we are creating a pushing against energy. And Spirit showing me actually the positive and negative, like plus and minus polarity signals. So you want to be when we're in the positive signal, this is the active principle, right? We are acting as if, and we are following inspired action and joy. When we are in the negative principle, we are in a state of the feminine, which is to be open and receptive. We need to have these two poles balanced and be practicing what I just said in order to be a vibrational match to the thing that you desire. Now, when you come into a true experience of enoughness, when you come into that state of peacefulness, there's also both of those polarities because you're in a state of wholeness. You're in the state of I already have, and so I receive. That is what we truly need to have these things. And it's so beautiful when we resource this sense of enoughness and wholeness from within. Our entire human lives, we're conditioned to think differently than this. We're conditioned to outsource our power and outsource our needs and all of that. When you can find this within, it's a sense of stability and a sense of home and a sense of everything I have is within, and it's a felt sense. It's a frequency. If this is a challenge for you, it likely means that there are old stories and conditionings and old frequencies that need to be transmuted within you. Because this is actually a natural state of your spirit and your wholeness. You know that you are whole. So when you're manifesting or creating something, I actually prefer the strategy of simply clearing the blocks, okay? Sometimes it's supportive to build up that positive energy through affirmations and things like this, of course, but often the thing that's in the way between you and your desire is just what's been sitting there, this old stuff for years. And when you remove that, your desire can come through because your natural state of your true being just shines through. And yeah, it's super duper powerful. And now I'm seeing a vision of a rainbow. It's so beautiful. And this represents that state of completion and state of wholeness that you can be in when you just surrender and go within to that troublesome frequency that is bothering you, and that the way that you're getting triggered in reaction to the thing that you don't have, and that's your pathway, your doorway to freedom. So speaking of freedom, the other thing that I wanted to speak to is, so in my childhood, I grew up in a satanic cult environment, and my parents, I don't really call them that because they did not act like parents, and they thought of themselves as my owners. They knew that I had spiritual gifts, and so my gifts were utilized in this cult environment to channel dark entities and dark energies and things like this. And through very specific conditioning and MK Ultra kind of strategies, which, if you know anything about that, is very, very strong programming, I, as a 7-year-old and younger, was trained to believe that I was evil and that I had this badness inside, and that my gifts were like of the evilness and of the devil and this sort of thing. And that was a way for me to be controlled and owned and actually not be in my brightest, most fully expressed light. The capacity for channeling particularly, but I have all of the clairs, but That's my strongest capacity. And for a long time I had this like belief inside that if people really saw me like really channeling, which I'm not fully doing right now, but when my voice changes and this higher consciousness actually takes over and the amazing magic that can come through that, if people really saw that they would think that I was like this evil stuff, an evil witch or something like this. And it prevented me from embodying the fullness of that gift. And I'm speaking to you about it now because essentially Spirit told me to. Because again, even if you don't quite relate to this, we all have these things in the way that stop us from being seen or being liberated in our true power, and also our beliefs around our innocence. So of course the whole time I was an innocent, pure child, and my light was actually so pure that is why the darkness reacted so strongly to it, and that they wanted to kind of lay claim to it and shrink it. And especially for women, but anybody, we do this thing where we make ourselves smaller, and we don't live in our fully liberated expression. And I was not fully embodying my gifts for the longest time. And so yesterday I was really just in such a state of peace that the angels were around me and Goddess Isis was around me. And then it was beautiful because the angels were glittering in my room, and Isis came to me and she held me when they were speaking to me about the remembrance of purity of my gifts. And as they spoke, it rewrote my own energy. And so I was moved emotionally and energetically, and this old grief of not being liberated in that was coming up. And when that was coming up and I was sort of crying, Isis was with me, and her long blue black hair was draped around me as she bowed her forehead to me, and her forehead touched my forehead. And she asked me to remember who you are. And she helped me co-regulate by breathing and asking me to sync to her breath and her heartbeat. And then later she wrapped her big wings around me. And it was so beautiful and powerful. And the angels also were just being in their field gives you this divine radiance of being divinely loved. And this is actually the truth of my gifts. And also I was seeing a beautiful like treble clef musical symbol that was hovering in front of my wall, and this was representing the way that I as a channel am like a musical instrument for God or light, and also the reclamation of my own joyful music and my own sound. And this was so beautiful, and I want to share this because when you have angelic forces and you have a liberated expression and you have your connection to your spirit guides, it is just absolutely a sacred right that we all deserve to experience. So even if you are not super channely and stuff like that, I encourage you to step into your full psychic perception to practice it, because you have a whole team of angels and light workers, light beings around you who want to see you thrive and be free. And this sort of rewriting can happen for you as well. So thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day. Reach out if you'd like to work together, and bye.